Have you ever wondered why you always do the right thing, say the right things, but no one wants to be around you? You feel like you're doing everything the right way, yet people seem to distance themselves from you, as if there's an invisible wall between you and them. It's frustrating, isn't it? But did you know that sometimes it's the seemingly harmless behaviors that are quietly pushing people away from you? A little bragging, some mild criticism, or even just being indifferent to the feelings of others. These things can make you the person everyone avoids, without you even realizing it. Here, in this video, we're going to explore some negative habits, some surprising behaviors that might unintentionally put you in the unlikable category. But don't worry, you won't have to put up with this once you watch the video. Now, hit the subscribe button below and let's figure out how to make changes to save those valuable relationships before they're lost forever. 1. Lack of humility, arrogance. Have you ever felt like you're always doing everything right, but no one wants to be around you? Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? That feeling is like you're bragging about everything you have, but in the end, you find yourself lonely. Sometimes, you might not even realize it, but a lack of humility is the culprit that's pushing people away. Take a step back. Are you the type of person who always insists on being right or thinks you're better than others? Epictetus once said, "Arrogance is self-deception. When you see yourself as superior to others, you are setting yourself up for loneliness." Harsh, right? But it's the truth. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that the person who's always bragging about themselves, thinking they're the center of the universe, is often the one no one wants to get close to? If you keep thinking you're the smartest, the most powerful, you won't be long before you find yourself isolated. People begin to feel disrespected, like they don't matter. So, why do we act like this? The truth is, it all comes down to one simple thing: insecurity. Oh, don't think you can hide that insecurity forever. It just makes you feel worse. When you don't feel good enough, it's easy to fall into the trap of bragging, trying to prove yourself. But in the end, you don't realize that you're just building a facade, and that only makes others feel like you're looking down on them. I'm serious. The consequences of a lack of humility don't just make you lose relationships, they also cause you to lose opportunities. You may not realize it, but those around you will gradually distance themselves because they don't feel comfortable. They'll feel like you don't care about their emotions, and maybe they'll leave without warning. Don't let it get to the point where you realize it's too late. How to change? Simple. Learn humility. Humility doesn't mean you have to put yourself down. It means recognizing and appreciating those around you. Don't always think you're the best, but at least try to be the person who listens. In reality, you can learn a lot from others, and you'll realize that the people around you aren't your competition. When you put yourself in others' shoes and understand that everyone has their own value, life becomes so much easier. Always remember, when you feel the urge to prove yourself, ask yourself, am I losing the chance to create a real connection? Don't let a lack of humility rob you of the precious things around you. 2. Jealousy and envy. Jealousy, envy, those uncomfortable feelings we don't always recognize, but they can quietly destroy relationships and affect your life. Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought to yourself, why do they have all that while I have nothing? Oh, that's such an uncomfortable feeling. But did you know that very feeling is what's turning you into someone no one wants to be around? Those feelings of envy, jealousy, slowly erode relationships, and sometimes we don't even realize they're destroying us. Jealousy is your acknowledgement that you feel lacking in something that others have. Epictetus once said this, and honestly, you can see it clearly. When you feel jealous of others, it's an admission that you don't feel good enough. But instead of facing that and improving yourself, you turn away and compare just to feel worse. And then you think, why do they have all that while I don't? Jealousy envy doesn't just hurt you, it also ruins relationships you could have built. Jealousy is a sickness that kills your own happiness. That's right, you may not realize it, but that feeling of envy is suffocating you from the inside out. It'll gradually make you feel like you're not good enough, and instead of learning from those who are successful, you just want to see them fail, so you can feel less inferior. As a result, the more jealous you are of others, the further you'll feel from them. You think people don't see the envy in you, but in reality, they can feel it. When you constantly compare and let jealousy control your behavior, you not only miss the opportunity to learn, but you also lose the trust of others. So, what's the solution now? Don't let jealousy control you. When you look at others and feel jealous, instead of criticizing them, learn from them. Ask yourself, what do they have that I can do to achieve? What can I learn from them? Don't think that jealousy will help you move forward, because in reality, it only pulls you further away from your goal. If you want to change, start seeing others as a source of inspiration, not as competitors. When you stop comparing and start learning, you'll realize that life isn't a race with others, but a journey of improving yourself. And then, you'll see that jealousy and envy no longer hurt you, but become valuable lessons to help you become a better version of yourself. 3. Selfishness, only thinking about yourself. Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts to achieve personal goals, you still feel lonely, or even like people are distancing themselves from you? Oh no! Sometimes, it's the unconscious selfishness that might be the main reason behind it. You might think that just focusing on yourself, doing what you want without worrying about others, will be fine. But do you really realize how thinking only about yourself makes others feel? When you don't care about the emotions or needs of those around you, you not only create distance, but also make them feel disrespected. Epictetus once said, "We are not what we do, but what we do for others." And because of this, selfishness isn't always about big actions, but the small, everyday things you don't notice. It could be making decisions that benefit you personally, without thinking about the impact on others around you. In reality, have you ever found yourself unintentionally pushing others away with actions that seem harmless? When you're so focused on your own gain, when you keep thinking, "I need to achieve this," you'll gradually overlook the people you love or hurt important relationships in your life. That's the truth, and sometimes it's actually scary. But don't worry, it's not too late to realize and change. So, how do you stop living only for yourself? First, you need to recognize that those around you have their own value and emotions. Stop and reconsider each situation, rather than just focusing on your own benefit. What you need isn't self-glorification, but respect for others. When you listen and truly care about others, your relationships will change for the better. And that's the key step in not only receiving affection, but also creating deep, lasting connections. Listen, respect, and share. That's how you break the cycle of selfishness, and it's also how you become a person worth cherishing in the eyes of others. Remember, selfishness isn't about what you keep, but what you don't give away. When you start opening up, giving, and caring for those around you, you'll receive intangible values that can't be measured. When you understand this, life will become so much more meaningful, and your relationships will be stronger, filled with love. 4. Lying and cheating. Oh my God, it's hard to believe, but have you ever realized that even a little white lie can cause serious harm? Don't think that a harmless lie will go unnoticed. Trust me, whether it's a harmless lie or one to protect someone, it will still make you lose the respect of those around you and even hurt yourself in the process. Why is that? Because when you start building an illusionary world based on lies, you'll never know when you'll get caught. And when the truth comes out, everything will collapse. Do you feel suffocated just thinking about that? Imagine being someone who always wears the mask of dishonesty. Every word, every action has to be carefully calculated to avoid being exposed. Tiring, right? But the problem is, the more you try to hide the truth, the more you get trapped in your own lies. You'll live in a constant state of anxiety, fearing that one day everything will be revealed. Not to mention, the people around you, no matter how much they want to trust you, will begin to doubt you. And if you're not careful, those relationships could crumble without you even realizing it. Epictetus once said, "Lying never brings freedom. It only binds you in the web of your own making." Think about this for a second. A little lie might seem like the key to escape an awkward situation, but it's also the rope that ties you into a life full of anxiety and doubt. You might feel better at the moment, but eventually, when you can't even remember what the truth is, you'll find yourself living in a prison that you created. So how do you escape this trap? Simple. Live honestly. There's nothing more relieving than being yourself, without hiding, without pretending. The truth can sometimes be uncomfortable, but you'll be surprised at how much relief honesty can bring. And most importantly, when you live honestly, you won't have to fear the day when your lies are exposed. Remember, lies will only make you feel bound. Honesty is the only way to true freedom. The world will open up more, relationships will be stronger, and you won't have to worry about protecting a fake mask anymore. As long as you're brave enough to face the truth, life will feel much lighter. 5. Judging, criticizing others. Oh man, don't tell me you've never gotten caught up in the cycle of judging others, especially when you see them do something that annoys you. What do you think of someone when they mess up just a little? Feels like you're the only one who can see things right, doesn't it? But the truth is, judging others not only makes you hard to approach, it also turns you into someone that no one wants to deal with. And did you know that this could make you come off as unlikable to others, even if you don't realize it? We all criticize others from time to time. Just one sentence is enough. But have you ever wondered how they feel when they face your criticism? Sometimes we don't realize that we're shooting out judgmental words carelessly, without understanding the other person's situation or context. Epictetus said, "Before you judge someone else, ask yourself, do I really understand them?" That really hits home, because when you criticize someone without knowing the whole story, you're losing the opportunity to build a genuine connection. Think about it. When you judge others, are you creating an unbridgeable gap? Do you see, when a close friend shares a struggle they're facing, if you immediately judge, that relationship could crumble? Why let that happen? If it were me, I would have done it differently. Comments like that only make them feel rejected, misunderstood. How to change? Try thinking about the other person instead of rushing to judge. The important question is, do I really understand their whole story? Remember that each person has their own reasons and circumstances for acting the way they do, and judgments only make things worse. When you stop, listen, and understand them, you'll earn respect, not just from them, but also from yourself. And if you want to help, instead of offering criticism, ask, "Is there anything I can do to help you?" Remember, understanding and listening are always stronger than judgment. When you put your ego aside to understand others, not only will you keep the relationship intact, but you'll also become someone that everyone wants to be around. Otherwise, judgmental words will only make you become someone others don't want to be with. 6. Indifference, avoiding responsibility. Oh, have you ever met someone who never takes responsibility for their actions? I don't know about you, but if you're someone who doesn't like taking responsibility, the price you'll pay is steep. Think about it. When you keep ignoring your responsibilities, not caring about the consequences, you're not only hurting yourself, but also pushing people away. Seriously, who wants to be around someone who always blames everything except themselves? You might think a little neglect doesn't matter, right? Who doesn't get a bit careless sometimes? You might think, but the truth is, Your indifference can quickly cause relationships around you to crack. Every time you fail to take responsibility for your actions, you're building a wall between you and those around you. And it doesn't stop at personal relationships. When you refuse to take responsibility in work, in family matters, or in important decisions, you're slowly destroying yourself without even realizing it. Think about it. Who will want to collaborate with someone who always avoids responsibility, right? Who will trust you when you never step up to own your mistakes or take things seriously? Epictetus once said, "We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it." This is really true, because when you accept responsibility for your actions, you show maturity and inner strength. On the other hand, when you blame others, you're only making things worse. The only way to avoid falling into the trap of indifference is to learn to take responsibility for both right and wrong actions. When you stand up and take the blame, take responsibility, you'll feel the respect from those around you. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be someone who dares to take responsibility. Remember, when you can stand firm with your decisions, life will become much easier. Life isn't always easy, but when you accept responsibility for what you do, you'll find that the relationships and respect you receive will help you get through any difficulty.